AEW Fight Forever is finally here. Today we have our full in-depth review for you, giving our thoughts on all of the modes, match types, gameplay, and more, and letting you know if the game is worth picking up. Let's talk first impressions overall. I gotta say, I'm having a lot of fun with the game in general. Fight Forever provides just that arcade nostalgic gameplay style that I love from the days of WrestleMania 2000 and No Mercy, using the classic control setup that I grew up with these types of games. It's simple, it's easy to pick up and play, and it doesn't create a large barrier to entry for players. What I noticed with playing many matches at this point is I can kind of have a slower pace. I can get really arcadey and silly with it, throw thumbtacks in the ring, smash my opponent with endless weapons, pull off some really fun sequences, and all of the wrestlers in the game really do have a pretty good dynamic range of moves. And for a lot of the wrestlers in the game, there's a lot of diversity in terms of the move sets for what the moves they can pull off in each match. You're getting some really good high spots. You're getting technical wrestling in there, power moves for guys like Warlow or Powerhouse Hobbs. Players do get a variety when it comes to this roster. Now let's talk about the roster. I'm kind of good with how the roster is for day one. It provides enough variety of different wrestlers to be able to choose from the men and the women's side. You got a lot of AEW favorites. You have newer wrestlers in there that I didn't think were gonna make the cut initially. Talking about Adam Cole and Bryan Danielson. The tag team side, I think, is really lacking. And I'm sure a lot of this is going to be held back for future DLC plans, but you have a limited number of tag teams made available in the game. So out of the gate, when you don't have things like FTR, which is day one DLC, Private Party, the Acclaimed are not in there, the Guns are not in there, it doesn't leave you much to work with from the tag team side of things. But again, future updates and future DLC is probably where they're going to fix this. But pulling off signatures, finishers, move off of ladders, everything is pretty easy and straightforward, and you're going to be able to pull off some fun sequences in this. Now for match types, it's pretty straightforward, but we do have some cool matches in there. You have one-on-one, which allows you to also do a lights out match and a falls count anywhere. You have a standard 2-on-2 match, 3-way, 4-way match, casino battle royale, exploding barbed wire death match, ladder match, your mini games, and you can go into training too. To me, it's a little bare bones on the match type side. And not only that, customization within the match types themselves too, I think that's lacking. For the early build that I got of the game in one-on-one matches, I can't seem to toggle on and off rope break or even disqualification to make it more interesting. And I can't do things like make it pins only, submissions only, or KO, things like that. So I can't even customize basic matches to give me a little bit more freedom, and I really don't think that that's a good thing, and hopefully they can patch this and update this going forward. Tag team matches are very standard, but once again, I can't even do a tornado tag team match in the game. 3-way and 4-way matches are a lot of fun. With the Casino Battle Royale, you can go through and select the arena, your wrestler that you want to pick with, and it's a combination of men and women in the Battle Royale. And you can, at random, select a card and pick your card to see when you're going to be entering into the match. You got 4 wrestlers in the ring all at once to start off. And I do like that they actually give you, when there's an elimination, they give you the little box at the top left corner of your screen to show you the next entrant into the match, which is kind of a nice little touch. I was really curious with how the exploding barbed wire death match was going to come together and how much fun it was going to be. As soon as the match starts, you got 120 seconds before the whole ring is going to explode. You can throw your opponent into the barbed wire table. Anything they touch when it comes to the ropes itself are going to give you the smoke and little explosions. So it's kind of cool. And then the timer comes down and then you get the big sequence with the explosion. Once the explosion happens though, you're left with a regular match, but with all the barbed wire surrounding it. So this is cool. This is a nice, fun match to have, but you're kind of limited. You're limited to just one-on-one, and once the explosion happens, it's not even like necessarily towards the end of the match. You could still play for quite a while, especially if you up the difficulty to like elite. But it's a fun match type that they've included that you don't get anywhere else. And obviously you're getting a ton of blood going on in this game too, which I really like that they kind of went over the top in some ways. It's a little cartoony, and that's what I'm kind of going for with this. It's just fun. Now, when it comes to online, I haven't had the chance to be able to go through and experience it yet, just because the servers are getting online at the time of this recording. So once the game comes out, we'll go and deep dive a little bit further what online is going to be like for players, because there's a lot of stuff for offer challenges and being able to get cash from the in-game shop to be able to use when you are completing online matches. For everything else that you have for customization, you have being able to customize and create your own wrestler, being able to go and change the attires for the entrance and the ring attire for existing wrestlers in the game. You can create your own tag teams, you can modify existing teams, and when you're going in to change anything for existing wrestlers or your own creation, you can change the Tron, you can change the music for anybody. So there is some variety in there, but we're going to talk about more with the creation aspect in just a second. Obviously, we have Road to Elite, which is your career mode, where you're going to take one wrestler and you're going to put them through this entire career mode experience. Now we'll circle back to career mode in depth in just a moment too, but the one thing I will say that I don't like is that I can only have one save for my career mode right now. So as I'm starting off my career mode with CM Punk, if I go back to the menu and I want to start a new one, it's gonna tell me to override my existing save. So I can't have multiple careers going on at once. You also have challenges, which it looks like they are updating from daily, weekly, normal, and then there's secret challenges. And all of the challenges that you complete is going to earn you AEW cash in different amounts, from like $800, $5,000, $10,000 to be able to use to unlock different things like entrance motions, gear, arena parts, moves. And even as you start off the game and you are completing matches to start off with, you're able to unlock right off the bat Aubrey Edwards, Cody Rhodes, Delta Tires for the Young Bucks, and Britt Baker. I think this is kind of neat because it allows you to get used to using the cash and what's going to become available. And it kind of hints, I think, of what we could expect in future DLC and updates for if they're going to include more wrestlers in there and using the cash that way to unlock different people. So let's talk about creation for a minute. Like I said before, you can customize wrestlers, existing wrestlers, create your own, create an arena, and create tag teams. This part of the game, I feel, is very bare bones. And coming from the side of 2K and the creation suite and community creations, I think a lot of players that are coming from that world might be a little disappointed for what they experience here, because it's not the same thing. Number one, there is no online for community creations to be able to upload wrestlers that you make or different attires and looks for existing wrestlers and download them. There's none of that. It's all offline. One odd thing is they have presets. So when you go into an existing wrestler, for example, I'll click on Chris Jericho and you'll see his original attire, and you can go in and change him and give him the different shirts that are available, which is basically nothing. And the ones that I've unlocked have done through Road to the Elite, where you unlock more and more shirts, but right now they're just for the different locations that I've traveled to. And if you go to presets, you can see if there are existing preset attires made available. Then I went to Kenny Omega, for example, and I click on presets, and there's multiple options for Kenny Omega from his existing original attire, and there's 3 others that are just in there, and you don't get notified or anything that these are in the game. And I didn't use cash or anything. They're just there. So only certain wrestlers have the extra presets in the game, like the Young Bucks, like Kenny Omega, and then others do not. I think it would have been a good idea if you had the majority of the wrestlers having different preset outfits so that players have something to swap out to if they want as they get started. Because what's available for Creation Suite for shirts, pants, gear, it's very limited. Under tag teams, we can change out the motion and the music, which is really cool for the existing teams. And you can see that on the music side, you got everything. But we also have some things where you can see like Jake Roberts' AEW theme is in there. So there's a potential for future DLC here, like Jake the Snake Roberts. And some of the Trons give us indicators of this too, of what might be coming down the road. The other aspect of creation is going to be creating an arena. And once again, not to compare to 2K series, because their creation suite, while it has a headache of problems, it's very detailed and there's a lot to do in there for customization. AEW Fight Forever doesn't give you the same plethora of tools available for customization with Create an Arena. You can use from the existing templates for Dynamite, Dark, and the pay-per-views. You can set those right away. You can change from the ringside, stage ramp, the lighting, and for the stage ramp, for example, you want to change out the videos, you totally can. You can change the stage designs too, which is nice. But as you can see, I have 4 unlocked stage designs and 4 others that I can buy with the in-game cash, which is fine, but there really isn't a lot of variety here. Likewise, for anything that you're going to do for the ramp colors, ringside, the ring apron, the turnbuckles, you're customizing a lot of basic features here, and you're doing it with just a bunch of different color options and color variants. So we can't upload any designs, obviously, but what they do give you in here is a little lackluster. I would have liked to have seen them try to include a little bit more with launch. I know AEW only has a handful of pay-per-views. They could have done some logos for maybe like Forbidden Door blood and guts, winter is coming. They could have done a little bit more here. Now, creating your wrestler, it's kind of the same thing, but if you're used to the days of No Mercy, WrestleMania 2000, this is right up your alley. And what I like is that it's clean, straightforward, easy to use, easy to create your custom wrestler. Make them look goofy, make them look serious. You can get a couple of different hairstyles. You can get some different accessories and options here. But on the men's side, as I've gone through and tested this, once again, kind of limited. We can change their body settings from how muscular they are, how fat they are, their height, their weight. But once you get into trying to customize the look with their attire from top to bottom, you're not left with very much. You're left with some shorts. For bodysuits, same thing. You're gonna get a couple of options. As you go through Road to the Elite, once again, you're gonna unlock more shirts and being able to get more tops unlocked, but it's not very robust at this point. And don't get me wrong, I'm totally aware this is an arcade style game. This is a smaller game, and this is AEW's first crack at a video game. So I kind of give them a little bit of slack here when they're putting this together. I just wish I was getting a little bit more options, and I wish players were having a little bit more to pick from across the board for the creation suite. But there are unlockables in Road to the Elite, and if the game is successful, probably stuff that they're gonna add in going forward. With your creator wrestler, you can go in and change their movesets, their signatures, their finishers, everything you can customize the way you like. So you can give them really unique movesets. And likewise, when you're gonna give them their motions, you can give them different entrance motions, Titantron, general motions, title motions too. So that stuff is really cool. And again, I like how straightforward and clean this is, and it's not complicated. And then we have Road to the Elite. This is your career mode. You take one AEW wrestler, male or female, and you're gonna take them on the road and experience everything for your career mode. Starting things off with the prologue, you get your business call, you're getting a message from Tony Khan, you're about to start things off with AEW, and you're kicking it off with a casino battle royale. Every time you complete a match, win or lose, you're going to get match bonuses, and your stats are going to go up or down. You're gonna get injured, you're gonna have reduced health, and they fly you around from location to location, from California, Las Vegas, Washington, DC, and every single week you unlock a few more things as you go. The way they set this up is that you have 4 turns every single week with your career mode. And with like week 1, you can go and select hospital, dining, going out, or go straight to dynamite if you want to skip all of that. And as you go through and click like restaurant and eating, you get these small text-based cutscenes where you got some back and forth with like a waitress. And by eating, it's getting your energy increased a little bit too. Basically, you go through all of these to be able to boost your workout, going out to do press events, things like that, and it boosts your morale, it boosts all of your skills. And every week you will see that there's going to be more options, more things do pop up where you're going to be able to run into other AEW wrestlers. And sometimes there's going to be moments that are highlighted where you're going to be able to interact and go out for dinner, and then you'll run into another wrestler there, and that's going to give you another bonus. Road to the Elite is fun so far, but with some of the things like going out for dinner and doing your workouts, you can skip, but that's what I'm finding I'm doing already, is that I'm just kind of skipping ahead to just see what my reward is going to be so I can get on and move on to the next match. The thing that I like about Road to the Elite, though, the way they've structured it, is that the unlockables, cash, getting those things, rewards are done through Road to the Elite. You have a really good incentive and reason to go through career mode with multiple wrestlers, from your created ones to men, women already on the roster. There's a good enough reason to go back, not only to just replay and see what other things you can do, win the matches that you lost before, change the difficulty to earn more bonuses and higher payouts with the cash. There's enough to come back to Road to the Elite that you don't feel like it's going to be one and done. You're going to want to replay this thing. Oh, let's not forget about mini games either. So they've included this, and they've talked quite a bit about it. You're getting mini games with each of the DLCs that are coming up too, that have already been announced. The ones that are already in the game, you're having Chip Gather, AEW Pop Quiz, and Penta Says. Chip gathering, you're literally running around trying to collect as many chips as you can, try to get the high score. You get challenges, you're going to get cash and rewards after that. You can do the pop quiz, which is going to give you different questions related to matches, things that have happened in AEW storylines, and you got to try and get the right answer. And then you have Penta Says, and this is going to be basically memorizing different poses and try to get the rhythm down, press the right buttons, the right sequence, and get the high score. The only reasons I'm going to go back to playing the mini games is really to just be able to get any more cash unlockables so that I can get those achievements. That's really going to be it. I don't think it was really necessary to have mini games in there. I kind of feel like we should have had It's more the focus on things like customization and maybe putting in an extra match type or something in there instead. It's a nice addition, it's fun, but I don't think players in general are going to be here for mini games that often. So is AEW Fight Forever worth it? For me, the amount of time that I've had with the game so far, I'm really having fun. And that's kind of the summary here of this review. If this is going to be a platform, a almost games as a service where we're going to have a base game for several years and we're going to get more content added on, I really like this model by THQ and AEW Games. I'm feeling pretty optimistic about the game, that players are going to enjoy it and have fun with it. But for it to be successful long term, I think that they really need to make sure that they're putting in a lot of effort with those additions that we've outlined. That's going to get players to come back for more and want to turn this thing on and see what's new and what else they can get in the game.